Born as Vreda Esther Mary Lascelles, daughter of Major William Frank Lascelles, she married the then Earl of Dalkeith, the son of the 7th Duke of Buccleuch and brother of Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, in 1921. The couple had 3 children, and after assuming the ducal title, they resided in family estates including Boughton House in Northamptonshire, Drumlanrig Castle in Dumfries and Galloway, Bowhill in the Scottish borders, and Eildon Hall. Rejecting Lady Ursula Darboux, the Duchess attempted to arrange a marriage for her son and heir with Princess Margaret, though he later married model Jane McNeill. The Duchess primarily lived at Boughton House, even after being widowed in 1973. She passed away in 1993 at the age of 92 and was laid to rest among the ruins of Melrose Abbey. Having married into one of Britain's most distinguished and affluent noble families, the Duchess spent nearly 4 decades admiring the splendid collection of jewellery belonging to the Dukes of Buccleuch. Today, I will tell you about this remarkable collection. And we begin with the Buccleuch Diamond Belt Tiara. This magnificent diamond belt, crafted in the 1840s, is a versatile family heirloom of the Dukes of Buccleuch. It can be worn as a tiara, and its individual components can be dismantled and used as brooches. For instance, the central piece was worn by the 6th Duchess of Buccleuch, mistress of the robes to Queen Victoria, at the wedding of Prince Carl of Denmark and Princess Maud of Wales in 1896. She later added a massive emerald to it for the Devonshire House Ball in 1897 and the coronation of King Edward VII in 1902. The diamond belt was worn by Molly, the 8th Duchess of Buccleuch, in a portrait by Cecil Beaton in the 1930s, paired with the Buccleuch Emerald Tiara. The Duchess notably wore the diamond belt as a tiara at the coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in Westminster Abbey in 1937, where she served as a train-bearer during the Queen's anointing ceremony. She adorned herself with the family's Grand Diamond Riviere and another diamond necklace for the event. Later that year, the Duchess of Buccleuch donned the diamond belt tiara for a striking portrait on the cover of Tatler magazine, also wearing the Grand Diamond Riviere tiara, another diamond necklace on the bodice, a large diamond brooch on her shoulder, and substantial diamond drop earrings. Recently, the diamond belt was among the jewels displayed at Sotheby's Platinum Jubilee exhibition, Power and Image, Royal and Aristocratic Tiaras. Another exquisite treasure is the Buccleuch Emerald Tiara and Parure. This striking floral diamond tiara, adorned with emeralds, comes with a matching emerald and diamond necklace, at least 2 pairs of earrings, several brooches, and a large emerald set in the central piece of the diamond belt. The emerald necklace and massive emerald corsage, along with several other emerald and diamond elements, were worn by the 6th Duchess of Buccleuch to the Devonshire House Ball in 1897. Molly, the 8th Duchess of Buccleuch, wore the emerald tiara and necklace with the diamond belt for a portrait by Cecil Beaton in the 1930s. In 1960, during Princess Margaret's wedding ball, the Duchess lost an emerald brooch. While it remains unknown if the brooch was ever found, she wore the emerald necklace and earrings with a diamond tiara for a portrait in the 1960s. But let's move on to another fascinating piece, the Buccleuch Mayflower Tiara. This splendid diamond tiara, adorned with mayflowers and leaves, was crafted in the 1870s and can be dismantled into 9 brooches. It appears that the 6th Duchess of Buccleuch, mistress of the robes to Queen Victoria, wore it along with part of the diamond belt. The Mayflower tiara was worn by Jane McNeill when she married the then Earl of Dalkeith at St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh in 1953, making a striking pair with her Hardy Amy's gown. In 2014, the Mayflower tiara was worn by Elizabeth Honocob when she married the current Earl of Dalkeith at Drumlanrig Castle, although few photographs remain. More recently, a few years ago, the Mayflower tiara was displayed at the family's Bowhill house as part of the Love and Respect in the Victorian Era exhibition. Another stunning piece in the collection is the Buccleuch Turquoise Tiara and Parure. The Buccleuch Turquoise Tiara is part of a larger set, including a necklace, a pair of earrings, and at least 2 brooches, created around 1850. Molly, Duchess of Buccleuch, favoured the turquoise parure, particularly wearing it for a portrait in 1938. The turquoise parure was also worn by other ladies of the family, such as the Duchess's daughter-in-law, Lady George Scott, who wore it for her presentation at Buckingham Palace in 1939, and her daughter, Lady Caroline Scott, at the Old Alliance Ball in Edinburgh in 1949, when she dressed as Mary, Queen of Scots. Later, the Buccleuch turquoise tiara and parure were worn by Jane, the then Countess of Dalkeith and later the 9th Duchess of Buccleuch, to a dinner at Britwell House, the home of Lady Pamela and David Hicks, before the Sutton Hoo Ball. Let's move on to the next piece, which justifies why our heroine is known as the owner of 5 tiaras. The next item is the Buccleuch pearl and diamond tiara. This Belle Epoque-style tiara features diamond garlands adorned with clusters of pearls and vertical pearl spikes. Molly, Duchess of Buccleuch, wore this tiara when presenting her eldest daughter, Lady Elizabeth, later Duchess of Northumberland, during the London season of 1939. In 1946, the pearl and diamond tiara was worn by the aforementioned Lady Elizabeth Montagu Douglas Scott at her wedding. Her younger sister, Lady Caroline Montagu Douglas Scott, also wore it for her own wedding. The tiara was also loaned to closer family members, such as Henrietta Montagu Douglas Scott, great-granddaughter of the 6th Duke, when she married Major John Griffin in 1964, and Charmian Montagu Douglas Scott, granddaughter of the 7th Duke, when she married Archie Sterling, also in 1964. Jane, the future 9th Duchess of Buccleuch, wore the pearl and diamond tiara multiple times in the 1950s and 1960s. But our heroine's wealth wasn't limited to tiaras, her collection also featured a diamond necklace. This striking diamond necklace, which can be worn as several bracelets, is undoubtedly a family heirloom. It was reportedly worn by the 6th Duchess of Buccleuch, a lady-in-waiting to Queen Victoria, along with the Mayflower tiara at the wedding of Prince Carl of Denmark. In 1937, Molly, the 8th Duchess of Buccleuch, was photographed wearing the diamond necklace beneath the family's diamond riviere at the coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth at Westminster Abbey, where she bore the train during the Queen's anointing ceremony. The Duchess also wore the diamond necklace on her bodice and a large diamond brooch on her shoulder when posing for Madame Yevand in the diamond belt tiara for the cover of Tatler magazine. Around the same time, the diamond necklace was worn as a bracelet for a portrait by Cecil Beaton in the 1930s. Throughout the 1930s, the 8th Duchess of Buccleuch was often photographed with the diamond necklace, typically with a pearl corsage brooch as a pendant. By the 1950s, the Duchess of Buccleuch often wore the diamond necklace in a smaller size, more tightly fitting around her neck, as notably seen at the April in Paris ball at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City in 1957. At some point in the late 1980s, Lord Lichfield photographed several generations of the Duchess of Buccleuch for a stunning portrait, where the then Countess of Dalkeith wore the striking family diamond necklace, and her daughter-in-law, Countess Charlotte de Castellane, donned the pearl corsage brooch. Despite being the custodian of one of the largest collections of aristocratic jewellery, the Duchess was not photographed in any other family jewels before her passing. We will now have to wait to see them on the current Countess of Dalkeith. Which piece did you learn about for the first time from today's video? Leave your comments below.